Yesterday, I ran 12 miles. Today, we're headed to the gym to do some weightlifting. We're gonna talk to you today a little bit about hybrid style training, which means pairing running with weightlifting and how to get the most out of both. We're headed to the gym and I love the gym, but I also like mixing it up. So for me, I like the hybrid style of training and I like it for so many reasons, but it's nice to change it up. And I think that's what drew me to CrossFit in the first place, was constant variation. And I think that you can definitely incorporate both and get really great results.
I think everybody should lift weights. And I think the hybrid style of training is getting more popular and for good reason. Our kind of thing is like compound movements and high volume accessory. Helps keep people strong, changes bodies, and it also keeps people healthy. So if you're running, even at like the extreme distances, lifting weights is gonna help keep you, one, healthy, and also strengthen you to where you're able to take the pounding or the beating of just the distance and everything that you're putting in over those miles. We've got quite a few athletes that do high level running, Christy being one of them, and strength training definitely makes an impact on their running as well. The closer you get to like a big run, the less lifting or the less heavy lifting you can actually do. But in the off season or the building, it's definitely what keeps you healthy. On the opposite end of that spectrum, where maybe you're just like lifting weights and getting as big and strong as you can, if you don't care about getting winded walking up a flight of steps, then it's kind of on you. But I think most people are liking having some level of fitness, so mixing in conditioning along with lifting. That seems to be kind of like the new style of training. It's like a hybrid style. It's where we can still lift weights, we can go out and run, we can do both of those things, not be exclusive to one or the other. And pairing them is definitely something you can do. It's something that we do quite a bit, and it tends to just make us feel the best. And alternating a little bit back and forth tends to make you feel a little bit less beat up as well.
The other thing I love about hybrid training is the sense of accomplishment that you feel when you finish something. There's a different sense of accomplishment when you finish a really tough workout in the gym versus a different sense of accomplishment you feel when you finish a really long run. They help each other because you have the mental aspect of that pushing really hard in the gym that propels you in your run, and then you also have the mental aspect of being able to finish those long runs that help you in the gym. So to me, it helps build that mental capacity, but there's just different senses of accomplishment which are really fun to feel and to experience throughout the week on different days. Today's video is sponsored by Element. Not only does it taste amazing, but it has a perfectly science-backed formula that's gonna help you so you can stay hydrated and you don't cramp or experience fatigue during those workouts. It has 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium, which is a science-backed formula that's gonna help you feel and perform your best, especially when you're sweating. I always have one of these in my bags because I've noticed when I've added it to my water, my workouts go so much better. I feel like I can keep my focus, I don't cramp, I don't feel as tired, and I just don't feel as dehydrated. I can keep pushing through those workouts even when I'm hot and sweaty. It's perfect for anyone and everyone because there's no sugar, so it's everything you need and nothing you don't, and it doesn't have any of the crap. I have great news. Right now, Element is offering my subscribers, that's you guys, a free sample packet with any order. That's 8 single servings of these little packets so you can try out all of the flavors and even share with a salty friend. Get yours today at drinkelement.com/Christy Eramo. This deal is only available through my link, so make sure you guys click below, drinklmnt.com/Christy Eramo, KRISTIERAMO. Now, back to today's video.
Sleepwalking until I say good morning. I don't even notice cause I'm numb. Stole my bliss the moment I was honest. Wow, look at that. I'm done with the lies. Stop pretending. Confidence has died. Did I mention? So chill I could fly through the ocean. Wow.
It's Sunday and we have the whole place to ourselves on Sunday, so we're at our physical location for IBEX training. And typically every Sunday we clean the gym really well. I mean, we clean it throughout the week, but we clean it really well on Sunday, and my parents help with that also sometimes, which is kind of cool. Then we write the workout on the board, so it's ready for 5 a.m. tomorrow, so that's what I'm doing. The workout is our IBEX 60 program. So there's gonna be a warm-up written, we go through activation, general warm-up, then we've got our skill or strength work, and now I'm about to write the workout. We're gonna have a 14-minute workout, which is gonna be really good to start the week. And then we're gonna have a little accessory piece on the end that's optional for people that maybe have a little more than 60 minutes. I wanna stick around and do a little bit extra. So that's typically how the structure of all of our IBEX 60 workouts go. They are all on progressions, so that way you are working towards something as you do this workout or as you follow this program. So it's one that we love. We get a lot of great feedback on it also.
So the hybrid style of training can look quite a bit different for everybody. Even between Christy and I, they look very different. I run quite a bit, at least relative to me. I try to run maybe 5 days a week, 3 and 5 miles each session. And Christy yesterday went out for a 12-mile run at what for her was a pretty casual pace. I think she was about an 8:30, maybe a little bit faster than that per mile. For me, my training yesterday was a 3-mile run directly into a 3-mile ruck with a 50-pound pack. It wasn't as long of a run. A 12-miler for me is, you know, towards kind of the longer end of what I'm like comfortable with. So that's pretty rare, but I did get a lot of volume in. It was a definitely endurance style of training, which I enjoy. We've been rucking quite a bit. It's really regular for us. We just finished up our 5K a day challenge with all of our members. It was a ruck, run, or walk 5K a day every day for the entire month, which, you know, is a great habit. A lot of people lost a lot of weight just from the extra activity that they were getting per day. Today, it's Sunday. We do have the gym to ourselves, which we really like. We'll probably do a little bit of bodybuilding and then a longer endurance style workout that's just kind of probably incorporating some machine work as well as some bodybuilding for that type of workout. It is a lower intensity, less explosive type of movements, good pump and a good sweat is kind of what we're going for today.
Need a bench.
Interesting technique carrying that bench.
If my arms were any shorter, it wouldn't work. I actually have long arms for my size, fun fact. I think it's probably from all the years of swimming. Actually, probably doesn't make sense.
I don't think swimming makes your arms long. I think it maybe just made you a better swimmer.
Yeah. I am going to start with a little bit of warm up and then some dead stop sumo deadlifts, some decline hamstring curls, which I freaking love, and then some kickbacks for my glutes. So especially when I run longer distances, I like to make sure that I train individual sides just to make sure it helps with those imbalances that we've talked about. But we're gonna start with pretty heavy legs, and then our compound lift is gonna be that sumo deadlift. Then we're gonna go into some accessory with some biceps and some triceps. It's gonna be a good day.
I think that's gonna be too much. That's your own shoe.
I got my own personal shoe at the CrossFit Games in 2022. So I qualified for, that would have been my 6th CrossFit Games at the time. I am actually a Noble athlete, so they gave all of the Noble athletes a special pair of shoes. So not all the athletes that qualified got their name on the bottom of the shoe, so it's one of a kind. I'm about to prove Patrick wrong because he says I'm gonna fall off the bench. This is going to work. First, you take a little monster band, you hook it through. If I fall on my face, you guys can laugh. Step through, now look. We have a really good setup right in the middle. Step on your box. Now we're just gonna slide ourselves down, put our hands on the bench, and curl. It's perfect, Patrick.
Decline hamstring curls are great. That's just a pretty aggressive angle she's got going on there. Typically we're like 245, so like half that distance. I honestly did think she was gonna slide off, but apparently she's got it under control.
I've done this a time or two.
Anytime we're doing anything glute or hamstring targeted, something we wanna do is make sure that we're pressing our hips into either the floor, the bench, whatever we're using. We don't want our hips cocked back or it's gonna make it a lot harder for us to engage our hamstrings and our glutes. Just like if we were finishing a deadlift, squeeze to finish here, that last couple inches is where we're gonna get the glute activation. We don't wanna be skipping that by keeping our hips back behind us. Another little tip, if you're doing banded hamstring curls, think about pointing your heels. That's also gonna make it a lot easier for you to keep your hamstrings and your glutes engaged.
Would you rather conventional deadlift or sumo deadlift?
Is that for me or is that for everybody watching?
Everybody watching and you.
Personally, I like sumo deadlifts a lot better. I think the positioning is just easier. Not everybody likes them, and kind of the go-to lift is a conventional deadlift. For me, it's just I'm not as good at it. The position's a little bit more uncomfortable. So I would go with sumo deadlift, and that's probably not the popular answer.
I would go with conventional.
What's your 1 rep max deadlift?
380 pounds.
Dang. So you got a 380 pound deadlift. What's your marathon time?
304.
304 marathon. What is that per mile?
I actually did those two in the same year, which I think is notable. So it's not like I did one 10 years ago and then did the next, but a 304 marathon has a 703 average mile, which was pretty cool. I did that in the same year that I competed at the CrossFit Games. So I was also bulking to put on as much weight as possible, not just running. I was hybrid training, hence what we're trying to share with you all.
So if that's not proof that you can do both, it absolutely is. It can definitely be more challenging, especially running fast times when you've got that strength. That definitely becomes a little bit more challenging to balance those two things, but it is 100% possible. That is an extremely fast marathon time. It is an extremely heavy deadlift, especially for somebody of her size. So even though she said she was putting on weight or mass to compete because she kind of had to at the CrossFit Games, she was the smallest female there just basically every year. How much do you think you weighed when you deadlifted 380?
I was about 132 pounds.
132 pound body weight, which is still pretty darn small, and that was bulking for her. So that's not an ideal weight for her or for her to run a marathon that fast. But when you put the work in, it absolutely is possible. So what's the downside to being a hybrid athlete?
Well, my thighs got thicker when you get stronger because your muscle grows. And now I have to wear longer shorts when I run because my thighs chafe together. So I guess good problems to have.
We're warming up for some sumo deadlifts. We're gonna do them dead stop, meaning that the bar comes to a complete stop in between each rep, which makes them a little bit more challenging. It's kind of like singles, but we're not gonna drop them from the top. We're going to follow the bar back down with our hands, reset, re-engage, and then move into the next rep. The longer the distances or the closer you are to running maybe a long race, the more you've got to pull back on the leg volume. I think Cameron Hanes even talks about this. He gets a little bit of heat just because he has small legs and he's jacked up top. But the reason for that, at least for him in the super ultra runs, is that the heavier or the bigger his legs are, the slower he tends to run. If there's anything that you gotta kind of pay a little bit more attention to, it is gonna be the size of your legs and the blood volume that you gotta keep up with for a long run.
I have to keep the chalk in the bucket. Every gym owner's worst nightmare is chalk. Perfectly clean floors and just people chalk everywhere. For training, I think it's really important. I went on that 12-mile run yesterday and I'm doing 10s today. So I'm going off of RPE or reps in reserve and not percentage. Because when I add in those longer training sessions, sometimes I feel awesome and sometimes I don't feel as good. And so I'm just working on sets of 10 a day and I wanna have maybe 2-ish reps left in the tank at the end of each set, and that's how I'm choosing my weight. So I think it's really important that some people get all sorts of crazy about percentage base. Yes, you do need to do some percentage work, but you can also do RPE and you can also do reps in reserve. And to get stronger, you just have to make an adaptation, whatever that is. So you wanna work yourself almost to failure, but not to failure, and that's the key. And never bring the bench to the dumbbells. So today we'll be smart and bring the bench to the dumbbells and not the dumbbells to the bench. Okay, we are now gonna do some curls and tricep extensions. This is something that we talk a lot about. We get tons of messages and people wanna know, how do I get better at high school gymnastics? I'm proficient at the movement, but I break down when the volume increases. If you are proficient at the movement and you understand the skill and you have good technique, it's time to break it down and figure out what muscle group is failing you when you get into that higher volume. If it's your triceps, starting to work more tricep extensions, tricep pushdowns, strengthening those triceps for bigger sets so that way you don't break down. If it's your pulling or your lats, the same idea, straight arm lat pull downs, lots of them. Overload that muscle so that way when you get into the workout, that volume doesn't break down. So you don't need to do hundreds of handstand push-ups to get better at handstand push-ups if you're already proficient at the movement. So now let's work our triceps because they're also kind of fun. I haven't figured out the whole posing thing. Didn't really have to pose in CrossFit.
Seated tricep extensions are one of my favorite tricep exercises. I think if you've got free weights, it's the heaviest loading you can put on the triceps that I found and get a good full range of motion. Something you'll notice, you want the dumbbell to always be facing down. You don't want it facing the wall behind you. It's a nice light grip where she's just supporting the head of the dumbbell. She's got a diamond shape with her hands. And that last little lockout is really where we're gonna make all of our gains. Don't skip that last inch or so. The triceps especially, you wanna hit that last in range of motion to get the most out of a tricep extension or really anything that we're doing.
I was at failure. I was like, hurry up, Pat, talk faster. I used to avoid all of the accessory work and all I wanted to do was grind and Metcon, always. And then I started feeling like I was getting aches and pains and I started feeling like I was getting a little bit beat up mentally and physically. Backed off the Metcon slightly, added in lots of high volume bodybuilding accessory work, and I started to excel within my performance and feel better. Don't skip your accessory work.
Simple tip if you want to get a little bit more out of your bicep work. A lot of times we'll see people doing curls and they either keep their elbow at their side or they even pull it back behind them. If you really want to put the workload on your biceps, keep your elbow out in front as you're curling dumbbells.
Next, we're gonna go with one of our longer cardio day workouts. So it's gonna be longer endurance. When we do these, we usually do different types of modalities, so running, biking, and rowing are all gonna be in this workout, with also a bodyweight box step up, which we love for endurance of your legs. It's gonna be paired with some strict movements, so strict pull-ups, push-ups with our hands on dumbbells, which is gonna get our triceps just a little bit more. We're gonna have some dumbbell strict press and some RDLs. It's gonna be 4 rounds for RX, 5 rounds for RX Plus, and these workouts usually take 45 to 60 minutes, and it's a steady state cardio, so kind of like Patrick talked about earlier. Again, another gym owner's nightmare. So we are pairing strict movements, which is gonna keep our heart rate a little bit lower, with the monostructural, which is also going to allow us to keep our heart rate elevated. What can happen is your heart rate ends up staying like this, instead of staying elevated the entire time. So the actual workout is 4 rounds for time for RX, 5 rounds for RX Plus, 200-meter run, 10 strict pull-ups for male, 8 strict pull-ups for the ladies, 25 20 cal bike erg, 20 dumbbell walking lunge steps with dumbbells in a farmer's hold, 25 20 cal row, 20 push-ups with your hands on the dumbbells, 20 bodyweight alternating box step-ups with 20 dumbbell RDLs, 10 and 10 single arm dumbbell press. You'll run through that for 5 rounds, aiming to be sub 60 minutes. A lot of people are around 45 for this one. So we're just gonna get a really good sweat, touch every muscle group in our entire body, and feel really good working all of that together.
We consider what we're about to do a little bit more of a recovery style workout. You should feel better by the time you're finished with it, not beat up, which is definitely the goal. We're not trying to beat people up with any of these workouts. We're trying to make muscles grow and make people feel better. If you like this style of training, check out the IBEX training app. Put a link to that below. You get access to all of our programs, Performance Aesthetics, IBEX 60, Comp Prep, Minimal Equipment, and we've got some more programs coming out that we'll be rolling out over the next few weeks. If there's any other types of training or things that you guys want to see, drop that in the comments below and we'll catch you in the next one.